I hadn't planned to come home early. The flight landed hours ahead of schedule. My phone still on airplane mode, no warnings, no calls. I opened the front door quietly, expecting surprise, maybe laughter. Instead, silence. Then I saw my son, his small hands bandaged, trembling, hidden behind his back like a secret too heavy to hold. "Daddy," he whispered, "Mom's boyfriend said these hands would never hold a gun like a coward's." The words landed like lead. I could see the tremor in his jaw, the dark fingerprints on his wrists. He lowered his eyes. My heart slowed to a single, deliberate beat. No shouting, no breaking, just a blade of cold sliding through me. He sat at the kitchen table, eyes darting to the hallway where his mother's new man was supposed to be. But there was only empty air and the faint smell of cologne I didn't recognize. I'd given her freedom after the divorce, tried to believe she'd keep our son safe. I'd ignored the late-night calls I couldn't trace, the way she refused to let me visit unannounced. Now the picture sharpened. The new boyfriend, the secrecy, the sudden distance. My son spoke in fragments. "He doesn't like me talking to you. He says you're weak. He said I should learn a lesson." Each fragment pressed against my ribs like a dull knife. Inside, a clock began to tick. Not rage, timing. I didn't storm out, didn't call the police. I tucked my son into bed and told him I'd take care of it. Then I began collecting. Medical records, school reports, messages on her phone I'd mirrored months ago, a habit I'd never confessed. Patterns emerged. Emergency room visits listed as accidents. A prescription for painkillers filled under an alias. Digital transfers from her account to his. At night, I sat in my rental car across the street from their apartment, watching the windows flicker. He came and went with a swagger. She followed, silent. I traced his history online. A string of temp jobs, sealed court documents, a whisper of a name change. The kind of man who lives between the cracks of official records. My hands stayed steady. Every keystroke another brick in the case I was building. I didn't want violence. I wanted something cleaner. When the background check came back, it was worse than I imagined. 2 restraining orders. 1 dropped assault charge. A sealed juvenile file with a violent streak. I printed everything, folded it into an envelope with photographs of my son's injuries. Copies sent to Child Services, my attorney, and the police. Then I called her. "I'm coming over," I said. My voice flat, unarguable. She opened the door like a stranger opening mail she hadn't ordered. Her eyes flicked to the envelope in my hand. He stood behind her, smirking. "You finally decided to show up." I didn't answer. I placed the envelope on the table. "Read." She did. Slowly. Her face went pale. His smirk faltered, then broke. "You've been watching us," he said. "Spying," I corrected. I told him exactly what was in the envelope. The medical evidence, the financial trail, the sworn affidavits ready to file. "You're done," I said quietly. He tried to bluster, but his voice cracked. He saw the stack of paper as a trap closing. "I'm pressing charges," I continued. "Full custody, restraining order, felony assault on a minor. Every agency already has copies." My ex looked at me then, really looked, and saw someone she hadn't seen in years. Someone who'd stopped asking and started calculating. He backed toward the door. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," I said. "Leave now, or they'll take you from here in handcuffs." He left. No words, no swagger, just silence and the sound of a door closing on a life he thought he controlled. Later, after the police confirmed he'd turned himself in, I sat in my son's room watching him sleep. His hands still wrapped, but safe now. I thought about the hammer, about the fantasies I'd built on the flight home of breaking him the way he'd tried to break my son. But the truth was sharper. Violence ends a moment. Evidence ends a life. I'd chosen the second, and it worked. My ex sat on the porch crying into her hands. I didn't comfort her, not my job anymore. Inside me, a door clicked shut. No pity, no forgiveness, only clarity. I stroked my son's hair and felt the steady rise and fall of his breath. He would heal. I already had. He thought he'd crippled my son, but all he did was teach me how to dismantle him without lifting a finger.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.